Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to ask the question, is Demiplane a threat to Dungeons and Dragons in any way? So first of all, let's talk about VTTs, virtual tabletops. And actually, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about VTTs. We're going to talk about character builders. We're going to talk about electronic character builders, right? And actually, I could say character builders. I don't need to say electronic character builders. Uh, you know, real Dungeons and Dragons games. You sit down, you have your physical PHP, you pull out your physical, and then you create your character sheet on paper through Legos, whatever physical process a real character, right? Real game, real table, real people, real books, right? We're talking the nonsense. We're talking the electronics. We're talking the casuals, right? But there's serious money in casuals, right? So Dungeons and Dragons correctly deals with casuals, right? Anybody who runs an online game, casual, right? Like, you can forget, like, not a serious dungeon master. None of them are serious players. Not a serious campaign in any way, right? But there are a lot of them, and they have real money, right? And Dungeons and Dragons has to pay attention to them because of the real money, the real numbers there, right? A lot of casuals, right? But let's keep it, this entire anybody using a character builder is a casual, right? All right. So, but there's a real business here, right? So first of all, let's talk about character builders. Dungeons and Dragons has the best in the world. That's not a debatable fact, right? In my humble opinion, right? And the reason why is, fandom spent like 5 years building it with Dungeons and Dragons, and then Dungeons and Dragons paid $150 million and went ham on that thing. Like, there's nothing like it in the world. And tell me if I'm not wrong. There's no company in the world where there is no division, right, between the character builder and the content, the way Dungeons and Dragons has accomplished. So just like everything else in the tabletop role playing game activity sphere, right, D&D is ahead, and not by a little bit. By so far, nobody else can even spell it, right? So no one has what Dungeons and Dragons has achieved, right? Not the full-on most capable character builder ever built, with zero division between no two companies to do it. One company, right? The content and the builder are the same people, right? You can grab your latte in the lobby. You can grab your coffee in the coffee room and go from one to the other. They're literally in the same building, right? Like, it's just, there's no division, right? There's no ownership division. There isn't even literal. I don't even think at this point there's no division, and that's a big deal. Okay, now Demiplane. Let's talk about Pathfinder 2e. Pathfinder 2e did build a character builder. It doesn't matter because Pathfinder doesn't matter, and the reason Pathfinder doesn't matter is because it built C2e. No tabletop role playing game in the world had less room, less tolerance for a second edition, and I believe Pathfinder 2e gutted Pathfinder and split their community so far that Pathfinder doesn't really matter in any way, right? All Pathfinder matters for is to create good game designers for Dungeons and Dragons. That's the purpose of Paizo Pathfinder at this point, right? Cut off all your rough edges as a game designer, making stuff nobody's going to read or play, and then when you get good, you can come to Washington State and do the real deal for a real company, Dungeons and Dragons, right? For Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro on a real game, right? That's the only, Pathfinder is just a farm league for D&D at this point. I don't think it matters. Roll20, very real competitor, but their character builders. Is there even a character? I'm almost positive there's a character builder on Roll20 for something, actually at this point, let's talk about Roll20, right? Roll20 is up, it's at scale, and it is crusty, crunchy, old, right? Like, just super uncomfortable, not really built as a web product, just clunky, right? Blow the dust off that thing. And I think Roll20 matters from a perspective that they have a large amount of the market share, but their functionality is just, it's painful, right? Like, painful, right? So you're learning Roll20 while you're trying to roll the game. Demiplane rolls up and says, "Hey, we actually know what actual web design is, and hey, everybody, look at this. We have character builders, right?" And so the reason we're talking about this today is CharacterSheet.com actually said, hey, check it out. Vampire Masquerade is now going on with a character builder, and Marvel Multiverse RPG has a character builder, and a few other games actually have character builders with on Demiplane, and it's up and running. Now, first of all, there is a slight threat from Demiplane to Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons refuses to do character builders for any game but Dungeons & Dragons. So they have the ability to do character building for any tabletop role-playing game, but they won't. They'll only do it for Dungeons & Dragons. So one, they are leaving money on the table. A lot of companies would love to have their licensed property put out by Hasbro. Hasbro's like, we got the best tabletop role-playing game in the world, and we're not going to muddy the waters, right? We saw TSR when they hired 600 employees. We're running lean with 50, 75, maybe 100 right now, 1/6 of what it was doing in the 90s, and we're doing 10 times anything they ever did. So we have 160 employees of TSR, and we do 10 times their volume, right? That's interesting. And actually, I shouldn't say they do 10 times their quality. They don't do 10 times their volume. TSR was making a bunch of non-quality splat books for years, right? So that's a better way to explain that. So the reality is Demiplane is picking up real work and real capability from functionality that is genuine, right? That's interesting. That is genuinely needed, right? These character builders are needed for all these other tabletop role-playing games, but they won't do it. They simply won't do it, right? And that's but Hasbro won't do it, right? So Demiplane is stepping in to fill a gap, okay? So from that perspective, Demiplane could be an actual threat to Dungeons & Dragons, in that character builder is an actual part of the market that Dungeons & Dragons is bowing out of, right? And Demiplane is actually making real progress toward them, right? So they have character builders for real character builders that function and that are not painful to use the way anything you would find on Roll20 is. And they have a few of them now, right? Vampire Masquerade is on there. I think Avatar is on there, and Marvel Multiverse RPG. That's real. That's very real, and that means that Demiplane, yes, may be a very real competitor in a space that Dungeons & Dragons simply refuses to enter. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.